Welcome to the Get Real Vodcast. I'm your host, Tanika Meeks, and I have an update. If you're listening to the audio, it is now available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, and Amazon Music. I know a lot of right now the people who listen to the audio part listen on Apple Podcasts, but for those of you who have Apple Music, hey, be sure to take advantage of it. Now, we're going to continue on with our theme from last week. Last week we were talking about whether or not you are or are not a good man or a good woman. And we're going to continue in that theme this week. So this week's topic is, where are the good men and the good women? And I bring this up because it's probably been a couple months. A couple months ago, I was talking to someone and they made the statement that trying to find a good man was like trying to find a unicorn. And I thought that was extreme, but a lot of people feel like they're not any good men or good women out there. Or you hear variations of that. You know, men ain't shit, women ain't shit, all women are gold diggers, there are no good men out there no more. You know, there's this growing population of people that feel like there are not good men and good women available. And, you know, when that person said they're trying to find a good man, it's like trying to find a unicorn, I immediately, I immediately disagree, because I'm like, I personally know, several men that I think are good men. Now, of course, I'm in the friend zone. Now, I'm a friend. So there's a difference between somebody being a friend and being a good man and being in a relationship with that person and thinking they're a good man. So I'm technically a friend saying that they're a good man, which, again, there's a world of difference between that. And so, I went on to kind of tell her about, a couple of the guys I thought were good men. And my first thought was, there's 7 billion people on this planet. You cannot tell me you believe that there are no good men available. And so that comment kind of disturbed me, because I'm like, where are people getting this information from? Why do people think that? Why do people think that there are no good men and good women available? Where is that notion coming from? And so today we're going to talk about where are the good men and the good women, and why people kind of feel like there are not any good men and good women. Now, to continue on our theme from last week, when I said, are you a good man or a good woman? Being good is subjective. There is no blanket criteria that you can check off and be like, hey, being good means I have a job. Being good means I have a car. Being good means I have my own place to stay. There is no checklist for being a good man or being a good woman. Being good is subjective, is subject to whomever is deciding what it means to be good to them. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but I wanted to kind of set the stage for this topic. So again, it's kind of carrying over from last week with, are you a good man and good woman? And if you didn't look at that podcast or that video, make sure you go check it out and then come back and watch this one. Are you a good man? Well, where are the good men and the good women? So I have 3 comments to make about this. The first one is preference and type. We all have a preference and a type. And I don't mean I only like black men, or only like Hispanic men, or only like Asian men, or only like tall men, or only like skinny men, or only like, big dudes, or only like small dudes. I mean, when we go out to date, we're looking for something. And most of us pretty much very quickly develop a preference and a type. And so I think what hinders a lot of us in finding a good man or a good woman is our preference and our type. Now, I'm going to use myself in all of these examples, and I'm going to dissect me when it comes to being a good man or good woman. So before I went to counseling, I kind of figured out early on that something was wrong when it came to me and dating. Now, I didn't know what that something was, but I knew something was off. Now, I didn't know if it was me. I didn't know if it was the men I was trying to date, but I knew something wasn't right there. And it wasn't until I went to counseling and the counselor kind of helped me work through some of my issues that I realized it wasn't the men that I was dating. It was the mental unhealthiness in my mind that was hindering me from finding a good man. Because a good man was not my preference. because I was a broken woman, I was out here looking for a broken man, a mentally unhealthy man. I would be a lie if I tell anybody that in my 40 years, I have not been approached by good men. But because I was mentally unhealthy, I wasn't trying to be with them. I was trying to be with that pretty boy. I was trying to be with that guy every other chick wanted to be with. I was trying to be with that flashy dude with a nice car. I was trying to be with that guy who I had to chase because he had other women chasing him. I wasn't trying to be with that nice, quiet, shy, hardworking guy. You know, I wanted what everybody else wanted. And my mental unhealthiness caused me to choose men who were not good men. I was broken and I wanted a broken man as well. And so it wasn't that there were no good men available to me or that good men were not approaching me, but it was because I was mentally unhealthy and I was choosing men who were mentally unhealthy. And so far, I think a lot of these people, when you see people talking about, oh, there are no good men and there are no good women and all men are the same. Yes, that is a true statement. If you are choosing the same type of man, whether he be black, white, Hispanic, Asian, German, New Zealand, Russian, or whatever he may be, then you're absolutely correct. All men are the same because you are choosing the same type of man. Our color doesn't change what goes on in our mind. And so when I hear people say that, well, all men are the same, I truly do believe what they're saying because they're probably choosing the same type of man. It doesn't matter what they look like. The men I was dating, some were tall, some were short. They were in different tax brackets. They lived in different parts of the city. They were different ethnicities. I mean, these men were as different can be. But they were all the same in their mind. They were all the same upstairs. They were all broken men. And so a lot of times we think, well, I can't find a good black man. I'm gonna go find me a white man. If your mind is not right, it doesn't matter what color of somebody you date. You're going to go find the same type of man. We're all drawn to things that attract us. And most of it is mentally unhealthy thoughts. For some reason, mentally unhealthy people, they must have a neon sign in the background and be like, choose me, choose me. Because I can tell, honestly, I still meet, even though I've gone through counseling, I still attract mentally unhealthy men. Now, the difference is where before I would entertain that, before I would be trying to get into a relationship with these men because I was a mentally unhealthy woman. Now that doesn't even appeal to me, but that doesn't mean those men are not still attracted to me. And so as a man or woman, whomever is either looking at the videos or listening to the podcast, when you think to, make that statement, well, there ain't no good men out here, there ain't no good women out here, all women are the same, all men are the same. Perhaps you need to, stop. Let's just stop. Go take a look in the mirror and start asking yourself some hard questions. Because with 7 billion people on the planet, I can guarantee you there's some good men and good women out there. Now, you may be overlooking those people. You may have no interest in those people. But then again, that's not their problem, it's yours. No one should ever be saying there are no good men and no good women. It's too many people on this planet for that type of BS. But if you have a preference for unhealthy men, you're always going to find unhealthy men. If you like dating that bad boy type or that lazy type or that drug dealing type or that I don't want to work type or I got a bunch of baby mama types, then yes, you're going to be one of those bitter, scorned women or man that feel like all men and women are the same because that's your type. So you want the type of person you attract to change, then change your mindset. Whether that mean doing self-reflection, maybe that's going to counseling, getting therapy, maybe sometimes they're just sitting down and having a good, hard, heart-to-heart talk with someone who will be honest with you. We are our own worst enemies when it comes to dating, because we date with our eyes first and our minds second. And so to me, I feel like when I hear people say, there are no good men and no good women, the first person you need to check yourself. Because the problem is you. The problem really is you. Not trying to be mean, not trying to hurt nobody's feelings. But if you feel like there are no good men and women on a planet of 7 billion people, you're crazy. Absolutely, positively, batshit crazy. So that was my first thing. If you feel like there are no good men and good women, the first problem is you. You need to check your preference and your type and make sure you're looking for the right thing. Now, the second thing is, I feel like a lot of people who feel like they are good men or good women get this sense of entitlement. That, because I'm an educated woman or educated man, I got a good job, I have a good car, I have a nice house, that entitles me to the cream of the crop out there. I'm a good woman, I deserve a good man. You don't deserve shit. You deserve to go out there and find somebody who wants to be with you. And I don't think no one should feel like they are entitled to the best of what's out there. And sometimes we set our sights so high that we are overlooking good men and good women. Oh, well, he works at a factory job. Oh, he works at a manufacturing job. Or he don't drive the type of car I like. Or, his place is nice, but it's not as nice as I would like it to be. Or he don't live in the right neighborhoods. If you're sitting around crossing people off for what they do or don't have, you're not looking for a good man or a good woman. And a lot of us get that in our minds. Well, I'm this, I'm that, I got this, I got that. But I can't find a good man or a good woman. Again, the first person you need to check is you. Now, I'm not saying not to have standards. We should all have standards. I would never tell anyone not to have standards. But if you've seen the dating series, the first thing you need to do is do that self-assessment and figure out what you have to offer, and then go out there based off your life and what you have to offer, and go out there and find what you're looking for. But date on your level, date in your league. There are a lot of good men out here from all walks of life, from all tax brackets, whether he works on the factory floor or he's the plant manager and everything in between. But some of us get so caught up on titles. We get so caught up on how much money other people make. We get so caught up on what they drive and where they live. Whether or not they're a good man or woman doesn't cross anybody's mind. We're more concerned about what they have than who they are. And if you are here feeling like you are entitled to the best, then you're right. And you're going to miss a lot of good men or women along the way. And then you're going to sit back talking about, well, I can't find nobody. Of course you can't. It makes sense when you think about it. Now, again, don't get it twisted. I wouldn't tell anybody not to have standards, and I wouldn't tell anyone to date below their standards. But what I am telling you is to be realistic about your standards. And make sure you're offering what you're looking for. So that was my second point. First, make sure you know your preference or your type. And two, just because you are a good man or a good woman doesn't mean you're entitled to the best of the best out here. And there are good men and women of all tax brackets, of all social economic standards, from the bottom to the top. A man does not have to be a CEO to be a good man. He can be the janitor and be a good man. And lastly, it's about a lot of people don't know what they're looking for. The one thing, if you've seen the dating series with me and my co-host Stefan, the one thing I love about my brother is he knows what he's looking for. He knows where his life is. He knows where his life is going, and he's looking for a woman to fit where his life is. The reason why some of you can't find a good man or a good woman is because you don't know who is going to fit your life. You're not taking the time to really evaluate self and then to go out here in the dating game and find somebody who's going to fit you. I'm going to take me, for instance. I'm 40 years old. I have a 21-year-old son. I have no interest in raising anybody's kids. It's not that I don't like kids. I just don't want to raise kids. I'm at the point in my life where I'm very selfish and I'm all about me, and I will openly admit that. So for me to go out here and so-called myself trying to get in a relationship with a man with 2 small kids who's very involved in their life, that is a bad fit. Even though that person might be a good man. And so what we all need to do is, when we're out here trying to find somebody, figure out who will fit into your life. And at that point, it becomes irrelevant whether they are a good woman or a good man. Are they a good fit for you? Because you can date the most wonderful person, but if they're not a good fit for your life, it's not going very far. And a lot of people don't give enough thought process to who is a good fit for them. We get caught up on this, well, are they a good man or are they a good woman? But are they a good fit? And I think we need to think harder about that. Make sure when you are here looking for that good man or that good woman, that they're also a good fit for your life and where your life is. And more importantly, where your life is going. Because there's no point in dating a good person if they're not going to fit not only your present, but your future. Like my brother said, he's a single man. He's looking to marry a woman who will bear him kids. It's no point in him going to marry some 45-year-old chick who doesn't want to have children. She may be the world's most wonderful person. She may be a good woman, but she wouldn't be a good fit for him. And so take that into consideration when you're out here looking for that good man or good woman. Make sure they're also a good fit. And so I hope, that this has shed some light to some of you out there who are kind of bitter and scorned, because I think saying that there are no good men and no good women is extreme, very much so in my personal opinion. It's too many people on this planet to even have that thought. And honestly, when I hear people say that, I almost immediately think the problem is you. The problem really is you. There is something about you. There are plenty of good people out here. But if you like those bad boy types, you like those thug types, you like those drug dealing types, you love those out here sleeping with and everything types, then yeah, there are no good men and no good women. You're absolutely right. And that notion is only going to change when your mindset changes. Don't put your narrow-minded beliefs off on everybody. If you're not willing to put the work in to change what you believe, don't put that on the rest of us. All women and men are not the same. Yes, there are some men out here who ain't shit. There are some women out here who ain't shit. But to say all men and all women ain't shit, that's taking it too far. Because there are a lot of good men and good women out here. Now, there are also some good men and good women out here who are not good. We talked about that last week. Remember, that good statement a lot of times is us talking about ourselves. Well, I'm a good woman or I'm a good man. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. I've met men, as I said last week, who were telling me they were good men. And my first thought was, no, you're not. No, you're not. The thing about being a good man or a good woman is, it doesn't mean anything anymore. Everybody's putting themselves in that category. It's overcrowded with a lot of people who honestly don't need to be there. As I said before, don't worry about being a good man or being a good woman. Be an intentional man and an intentional woman about what you're out here doing in the dating game. Know your preference, your type. Don't feel like you are entitled to the best, and be able to go out here and know what you're looking for to find someone who will fit where your life is, who will fit you and who you are. And if they're a good woman or a good man, hey, that's just icing on the cake. But don't make that the whole cake. To me, I don't care if a man thinks I'm a good woman or a good man, as long as he values me. As long as he knows my worth and knows my value, and he appreciates me for who I am and who God has made me. So that's my little spiel on that. This is the Good Real Vodcast with your host, Tanika Meeks. New content will be posted every Saturday. Word of mouth is still the best form of advertising. So if you like the videos or you like the podcast, please be sure to tell another person. If you're looking at these videos on YouTube, some of you creepers need to stop creeping and actually hit the subscribe button. I'm getting all these views, but nobody's subscribing. I'm getting tired of y'all. Quit playing. But until the next week, I'm Tanika Meeks.